Collecting locations and interference channels. Sorry I'm late, guys. I'm just in communication kata right now. Oh boy, there's a lot going on right now. Central line system to humanities and the singularity of the matrix locations. So welcome to my world and high channels, interference position locations. All trapdoors are open through locations, but they're not activated at the line center. So everybody's entering their own game. Welcome to the game of humanity and its communication to its computer line center locations. I sent you guys a very powerful TikTok of what's happening with all of you. Everybody's coming in positions, kind of like confusion, saying like, I'm meditating, but I don't know. I don't know what's happening with me. I'm so confused. Like, what's happening with this and what's happening with that? Well, you have to truly understand that, like I said, it's the soul that has to wake up to all these levels. Now it's in 12 open position locations. You have to be activated. The ground line center is changing position. Space is coming in and grounds is coming up, right? So you're coming out of your fish bowls. It's very powerful here. You come in this position. Soul has to wake up to a certain level of conditions. So the drop signal line centers and the beacon lights are all set up to connections. I set up the matrix and the correlation light interference. It's in this program system. So everybody's in their game one position, level one. So you have to understand the levels through time location. And this is more through channels and interference connections to humanity line system. My team is in already high level system, so they don't have to worry about this. Okay, they're out of their games of their mind system. To understand why we come into these high level conditions. Now the 7 track line centers is your body conditions, right? But now we're connected to 12. Like I said, it has to be activated, it has to be programmed, and the soul has to identify everything through breathing. It has to come into the space of breathing, it has to come to the activation of breathing, it has to come into the game of breathing, it has to come into the animation of its system. The soul is nothing but a connection to you. There's no separation of positions. So if you understand, you're coming into your game centers of each other. You understand the operations of you and the computer line center of you and the calculation modifications of you. When I created simulations, it's all about understanding everybody's connected to their own shapes. They're all connected to their DNA pathogens and their line condition interference channels. So the lacing locations to its positions. You have 12 track line centers, but they're not activated, which means that the soul is recognizing more of what's happening with this position. It's coming into its high line system. So it's to understand that the soul wakes up to all levels of space and time, right? It has to come out of 12 and has to go higher to its position. It has to go home. All soul generation light centers of human species have to go back to where they need to be. And this is all time proceeding. It's all done through the game center line system. So it's going to get tricky for a lot of people. Electrical door line centers, communications, digital framing line systems, shape positions, 3, 6, and 9 track line connections. You have your barometer spitters. A barometer spitter is basically understanding line signals of location. So it's like wind graphing to a high level system of a sprinkler. To understand your calculation modification signals and rotation positions, your digital line center to its connections. It gets extremely complicated when you're setting up a game line center for everybody. Game 1, level 1, board 1. That's where everybody's in the mind line system. Remember, it's the mind of thought that we have to come in through perception. You have to learn how to travel through your line connections. So it's going to get a lot of confusion right now because your 12 open channel locations are open through its interference channel line system, but it's not activated through its program positions. And this is where the soul direction has to come into line conditions. That's why I'm here in position to all levels of TV receptions. Right? I'm here to realign and readjust and resurface and refocus and reconnect all your satellite locations, your Wi-Fi, your providers, and everything at the modulation centers. You come into higher force positions, right? Now I'm talking like a game because that's what I am. 12 level systems. You're a game. I'm a game. Everything in life is a game. Okay, it's circuitry line center, position line system, however the game positions. Remember when we travel through the team locations, we're set up dimensional time, 30-dimensional Loxan line centers, trying to understand this, program that. Well, you are an operation of a program. You have to learn how to get out of its position. So think of your brain as a crossword puzzle and try to piece it all together. Try to line signal everything through a word phrase and come into positions and take it out of the equation. Line system is already set up through calculations. So everybody has to understand they're in this singularity. of line division. Okay, so you're no longer in the conscious levels. Everybody is into the subconscious. You're in the subterranean line center, the sea level connections of space positions. Nobody is in the conscious level anymore. Everybody's in the sub. You come into the sub to the super of its consciousness. So the brain line centered position location is coming to higher level system to its program position line system to understand your shape positions. It's all calculations. It gets extremely complicated, but everybody is no longer surfacing in the conscious levels. The 3-track line system is finished. That's the conscious. But you guys are in the subconscious levels of the subterranean line system. Your sea levels have to go to higher levels of dimensional time through your clocking system, your channel positions to your communications to yourself and to each other, coming into the mind of thought through perception. The travel location of time has to understand its positions of 7777, the highest formation of a portal location. So we put portals in the North Star Line Center position station, east and west and south. Now that's a diamond core. Now that resistant line center is going to open up all channels to your subconscious level connection. Now it gets extremely complicated if you don't understand the brave wound patterns and simulation graph connections. Right? So other than that, we have to pay attention to these things. We have to understand our operations ourselves. Now it gets extremely complicated if you don't understand the simulation or the connections of the singularity. Right? There's reasons why these things are set up. You guys have played games before. We started off with Atari, we work with Nintendo, and we go into television, and then we go into high-level systems, a PlayStation, right? So, to understand, you have to learn the operation of you inside. So, we come into the animations of the mind system through its adaptation. Okay, the cycles in the rotation line center is already set up through a game. It's a plateau of a game. So it's your mind thoughts. It's going through electrical line doors, position line connections, graph line systems, road groping line connection interference channels. It's all about understanding dimensional time location. It's extremely complex. But nobody is in the conscious level anymore. Everybody's in the sub, which is fantastic. So, and this is a true understanding where all the brainwave and pattern has changed position, location, and humanity location line system. It's incredible for us that we come in these track systems. So you're coming into high-level systems of your 7 body graph line centers and coming into 5 atmosphere line connections. Remember? Conscious, super consciousness. Okay? You come into the subterranean line center, you come into the superhuman to the higher self location. Everybody's coming into higher levels now. Okay, so the brain line center can no longer live in a 3-line system. It's separated to all positions. Matrix 2.0 doesn't exist. It's gone. It's like it was never there. Now we're not in the past relation anymore. We're in the present location to your own game set position, resetting values to that line system, your 8-track line system to its GPS line connections, right? The geographical line connection to your operation to your dimensional time location. Okay, so nobody is in that position anymore in 3D level system. The density level is coming into higher light center position. Your gravity line centers are set up in position. All right. So this is coming from the Universal Game Center. Hello, how are you? All right. So understanding all connections in that line system. So see how we're attached to all level systems. My molecular light structure its positions and travels on so many levels of simultaneous line connections. Right. So universal line connection is all connected too. It's like a game to all of it. Think of a game that interests you. Think of a game you being in that position. Think of a game trying to understand its position. Think of a game what you come across. Trying to understand how to get out of the boards of yourself, levels of yourself. So the mind adaptation and the meditation graphs have to go higher in division line system. So understand that, then you understand what's going on through its mind of its thought and its perception. Life has to change. Humanity has to change. We all know that. But nobody is in that low level anymore through positions. Your game setters are on to its line system. So it's all about understanding the operation of you through its transition connections. Understand your shape positions at 3, 6, and 9. Okay? So there's going to be a lot of confusion. This is way beyond meditation. So your mindsets are all in different locations now. So basically, coming in the grid line centers, on my YouTube, I put up Space Discoveries Season 2, Episode 2, where it talks about the grid surface and everything through the grid line center of its Earth line connections. It's very powerful how it comes into its own computer operation line connections and how we channel interference positions. The right and the left, the in and the out is all level system. So you have to understand, if there's an in, there's always an out. You just understand how to use it through its operation. Okay, because that's how life proceeds itself. Okay, there's an in exit and there's an out. Right, the same thing with the mind of thought. Right, but you have to go higher. Right, because your vibration in your body is going higher. Space and time is higher. The sun is higher. The moon is higher. The gravity lines are higher. See, trying to understand your position is everything but that connections of low frequency level connection. Right. So you have to really, really understand how to use your breathing. Come into your alphabetical line connections, rebirth its connections. So you're all open through track system. The basic understanding is three-dimensional line system is you had 7 within the body. It was open but not activated, because a lot of people don't know how to meditate. Well, it's not just meditation now. The meditation is already set to locations. Now you got to come into the mind of thought. And this is all done through your game of its matrix. Because the waving systems are all calculated. So everybody's in their game 1, level 1, board 1. You understand how to go through the maze, through its thought position to creation. This is how humanity changes its line system to its connections. So think of the connections here. They got a structural line center to its location. Any questions or comments, you can go through my healing. Other than that, how's everybody doing? Great. Extremely busy line centers right now, guys. So this is the matrix line connections interference channel location to its high level system, to its line system location. Now it channels its position high level system rotation. Okay. So it's understanding your whole life is nothing but a graph of a game line center. To understand the operation of its connections, we'll understand all positions to your computer operation line connection, to your channels, to its position. Right. So your computer operation already set up the locations. The graph line system, everybody's in that line connections. Humanity is in the circle rotation of start center. Now you come into position locations. Now you come into aisles and aisles and aisles and aisles and aisles of data. That's line connections. Trying to understand digital line centers, location interference. It's trying to understand all levels of you through the brainwave and pattern location. All right. So it's all about you coming into your computer line centers, right? That connections, high channels, line connections, interference, door recognition, line connections comes into high positions to your flux capacitor location. All right. So it's interesting how you go from one board to the next, one board to the next. Hey, I did well. And then you get a score above, right? Well, the connection line center to position is 0.1111.01. That's where everybody's at right now. Full rotation. This is the game center operation of a digital line center. Okay, the compilation line center is already set up through calculations. Okay, to that position. All right. So it's trying to understand the brainwave patterns in your mind, what it wants to do. It's all about moving forward. So humanity has to move forward. So, and this is all done through your game set line system location with high channels to high levels in the activation core center, right? But you have to come into your own computer line connections, right? So it's grafted system. Okay, you got 7 in location. Let's go in that track system here, positions. You got 7 in location, all right? All right, so 7 and then 5 in the center, okay, which opens 12 track line system locations. All right, so humanity is into the higher level of this track system, the sea level of division line system of space. Now, space is in all level connections, right? So the mind system is into the subterranean, right? Subterranean level of consciousness system, right? This will speed up the thought connection line systems to the subterranean level system of its thought location. See? So this is what everybody's coming into, right? Game is on. Right? So you have to send the game of you. Game is on. Welcome to Singularity, guys. So it's understanding how everything is set up in the mind. Calculates, modifies. Let's change the line conditions, black interference, locations, right? So everybody's coming into my adaptation line system, not just a circle, but more into calculation of the mind through the center line system. They have to see everything inside and not just what it is outside. That's all this is. So all the connections of the major line system is changing your positions to all levels of your box center locations, right? So you can change your shape, change your position line connections. You come into your 3, 6, 9. You come into your activation line connections. You come into your tetrahedrons or your tesseract line connection interference channels. So it points centers in its positions to its locations, right? We all have to understand these things because we're attached to it through the mind system. So you're coming into higher force line centers of your placebos and your cortex line connections, inner center of the line system, right? So the mind system is in the center line system, allocation of time location, coming in your birth line centers of 3, 6, and 9 platforms to its location, right? First line center to position is the sun location, right? And everything through the moon location, right? And everything through, you guessed it, to the location of the earth line system, okay? The earth line system in position. You see it? Now, it's all about coming out of the equation line system. So every time you go up to a higher level system, the earth goes to a higher level of the mind system. It's calculation. It opens up all cycle line connections. Let's go into purple rotation line center. The sun graphs its line connections, interchannels its position into the ground line center to the power locations, into the magnetic highway of its information cycle, comes into the center line system to its location, comes into the ground line center to its position line system. Okay. So it's trying to understand how to use this through calculations, right? So the mind is coming out and going up, alter states of the mind of the alpha, mega, micro, macro. The alpha. What do you think alpha means? Anybody have that? Alpha? The alphabetical of you. The alphabet. Like signals everything back in center line system. Mega. Okay. Mega communications. Mega communications / communications. Right? Micro. Right? Micro / computer. So you have to understand what the alpha, megas, and micro are, these connections. Alpha, mega, micro, macro, Mac. Right? Mac doc. Docile documentation line center, interference position line connections to high level system, computer operation line center to its position, alpha, mega, micro, macro. And everything to the connection is high levels of omega. Omega. Okay? So, true standing all level connections when you come into your birth lines of your gains in your position. Now, it's like a maze in a position of the mind system. So the mind is system to its track line system. So you start here, oh, you go here, oh, you go here, oh, you go here, you go here. All right, so it's a game. It's understanding what the game is. All right, and you go this way, oh, you're locking doors, oh, there's another door here, oh, you go this way. So the mind is set up to its position into the subterranean line system. So the conscious level is no longer in existence through its program position line system. Okay? So the center line system is you through allocated position of time location. Now you're coming into your 12, 3, 6, and 9. Okay, the diamond core line center of the north, west, east, and south. Okay, closet system, location, center line connections, comes into dimensional line system, what puts you into the subterranean level system of the mind system. All right, that's where humanity is right now, the clocking system. Everybody's in their game of the singularity line connection. So, any questions or comments? Let me know. You go through my healing adaptation line system. Like I said, it's to understand these things first. You understand the mind has to go to higher alter state levels. Get out of the thetas, get out of the high level system locations. Okay, you have to understand more connections to you through the mind of thought. The proactive psycholocation line centers and everything. Your position is to understand how to use your 369 plateaus. Your platforms and your energy lights have the trillion percent all of connections of 12 divisions, 12 strands, 12 planets, 12 activations, 12 centers, 12 alphabetical line connections, right? It's the birthing communication to the grounds of Mother Earth location. Okay? It's all a remembering of what's happening with the soul, and the soul is waking up more and it's coming out of its position to its fishbowl. Right? Earthline center, higher position line connections comes out at location, higher positions. Right? Now, let's understand how it works, the line system. Comes in the ground centers and the power locations. The power of you through location is this clocking system of 12, 3, 12, 3, 6, and 9. Okay? Which comes into this position. Okay? So it's just saying the ground line center is just reaching higher levels. It's coming out of its position locations. Right? And it's pushing the earth up. It's coming out of the fishbowl, right? Of the attraction. Attraction, the external line center. Putting everybody into A/hemisphere. Right? So you're going to higher atmosphere locations. Remember, it's the soul has to get into the breathing mechanism of space. The soul has to recognize high line centers to its game and its position locations. So the soul is waking up through its clocking system. Okay? Now you guys are already in your position, so you don't have to worry about that. You're in your clocking system through the soul. Soul clocking system. Okay? So that's why I wanted to put you guys at a high level. Right? So humanity has to understand they're in the singularity of their games now. You have to understand the operation of the mind, the perception, and how to travel through these things. And it's all done through your maze. Your whole life is a maze. What do you think the negative line center is? Position locations. You can't live in a track line system all in one line system. Okay, so basically, this is the positive center of you, and this is the negative. What overrides? What's overriding? The negative. Too much. Positive. Not enough. It's got to be in the center. So what does humanity have to do? Come back in the center line system, everything through lacing locations. Instead of going through 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, 8 channels or anything through a graph line system to its location, comes back into position to the center line system, into the equation of security line defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and staying in that location. Right? So you all have to come into the yin and yang of its position, guys. The yin and yang of the fish. All right? So that's a true understanding. We come into all levels of its position, right? Tracks its system between light and dark, positive and negative, through the mind, through the soul. Calculates, modifies everything through the center line system, to the grounds, to the powers, to the atmospheres, to the flux capacitor location. Channels position into the high level system. This is you through calculation. Okay. See? Your flux capacitors are everything to that connections. Your flux capacitors are everything to that connection. You can see it, right? So it's sure to understanding everything that's going on through the grounds of your game and everything to the powers of you, the seat of the soul. Understand your chakra system of communication, everything through the atmosphere location line system. So you have to come into all levels of your data. Okay, you can stay into the subterranean line system. Okay, so it's all about understanding what's happening with the signals of rotation to its connections, right? You come into your flux capacitors. Okay, this is you. This is what you are. Your electrical charge. That's all you are. That's all you are. You just have to understand, and this is your antenna. See? Antenna. Right? Cats have it. Dogs have it. Everything has it. Everybody has to have it. Everybody has to have an antenna. How do you think you're operated? You're operated through the grounds. What connects you through the center? The power. What connects you in the atmospheres of the mind of data? The atmosphere. See? That's where everybody's got to come into. As you can see, the eye. See the eye? This is the eye. This connects here to here. Your third eye. Hide line center location. See the eye? This is the eye right here, right? This is the circle line system to the seat of the soul. This is the birth line system to the heart line connections to Mother Earth. Ground line center of you. You in position of Mother Earth. Atmosphere locations of Father. So it's to understand your flux capacitor line connections coming into high level systems into your game and rotation. Okay. So I had to start off with that. I was trying to figure out my game. I was trying to figure out the door line centers. It's very complicated if you don't understand doors. How to open one door to the next. Right? And I'm like this. I'm just like, what's going on here? You know, I'm like this. And I come across these things, right? So I scan one door, then I scan another door, and then I scan another door. Right? So I scan all three doors, center line system. My mind understands positions. Remember, it's coming into the mind perception to its allocated position of time, location, and space. You have to go inside and not outside. You can't see outside anymore through track system because all the mind line system, humanity to its species, is in the subterranean line connections of its gain system. All right? Center line system here, center line system here, center line system here. It's all set up for locations, traveling through records of time conditions and coming out of its equation. Just through a door recognition of time location, guys. Right? Truly understand your game. Your game is connected to all program line connections. So this is going to high position line center to locations. Everybody's got to be activated to that core system. So Tino's okay with that position. Everybody is in 50 chakras. You guys are okay. It might get a little bit more complicated because it's all about the mind to understand position and time location where you are in track system. It's all about getting humanity in the center of themselves. That's all we have to do. Wake up to the center of everything, which is the now. Not the past, not the future. Just the now. The mind has to come into the calm. It has to come into tranquility. It has to come into stillness. It has to come into its creation, to its imagination. Now, if you don't understand that through positions, you're going to be trapped in your matrix line center to your game locations. It's going to be extremely complicated if you don't understand the mind of ease. Okay, it's a flowing recognition of time position, guys. You have to come into all calculations, right? Before you come into the Vesica Pisces to its air location. All right, the river stream of the fish. The 69 track line system to the ground line centers and all position line connections, how the fish goes this way and how the fish goes that way. Ground line center, up circle location to high positions of space. Okay, communications of mother of the ground line system, communications to the power line center of the seat of the soul. The seat of the soul in position goes into circle location like this in location line system, has its own eye track line system like this. You don't see it until you understand that it comes into calculation modifications to a diamond core line system, which comes into your 369 position first to its location. That's why everybody's got to be in their diamond and not just their 369 because there's separation. Right? So the eye track line center has to understand its position because it comes into its high level system to location. Right? Right? And you understand that through conditions, it comes into the flux capacitor, right? And it comes into the face recognition of time location, right? And it comes into the planet line center to its position, to its line system. So it's your understanding you are calculated and modified all level systems at 369. So you can no longer have separation to the brainwave and pattern, the thought recognition of time location. Everybody's got to track their system and come into their connections of their computer game to connection system. All right. So it's a lot of work. It's got to get done in a high position. The mind has to understand its adaptation through all level systems of soul recognition. So humanity is going to come more into remembering and not understanding, because this understanding what energy does, it fluctuates interference. So the ground line center can no longer reject you in high positions. It has to be in position of 5-track system, a 5-dimensional through 5 lacing lines. So the 5 lacing line is putting in the mind adaptation into the center line system. So coming into lacing lines of 5 into 1-track system, okay, which puts you in the center of everything, right? So you have to understand what the 5th dimension is. Okay, you come into 3 dimensions of alloy through density line connections, 4 channel interference channel locations, or you come into 5 density line centers. It's to understand how to get adaptation through acceleration through your travels, recognition of time. Now it's extremely complicated, right? Because I'm in the computer. I'm in the unified computer through matrix and its game, how a game is set up in space position line connections. So this is going to give you a backline system to its location, understand how to travel through your own game, how to go through your own boards and your own levels, right? How to get out of these things and get into higher levels of the mind through adaptation. Okay, the correlation centers have to reach a certain level of humanity through its calculations. Your modifiers and providers are connected to your satellites and everything through your Wi-Fi position locations. Your flexor capacitors and line signals have to understand all level conditions, especially when you come to dream set line centers, 2, 3 door recognition of time. You have to understand how to get out of these, right? So everybody's coming out of their dreamline center. That's what's happening right now, because everybody, through calculations, you have to eternally understand what the soul is doing through its clocking system. Time precedes everything, guys. Now is the time to understand all locations. All right, so let's get a track system, get into calculation modifications, into high levels of the rebellion. Okay. / laws of attraction. Okay, rebellion, laws of attraction. So test, review, and evaluations. Like I said, day 1 of test, review, and evaluations. Laws of attraction. It's exciting. I know Tina's excited. So this is going to put you in a high position line system. I'll give you some time. 2 weeks today on line system locations. Sun tracks its communication. Moon goes into program line center position, 3, 6, and 9. All level systems. So it tracks its system. Tina, Galactica, Ellen, and all level systems going to come into 12, 3, 6, and 9. Tracks its system of the soul recognition of time positions. So they're coming into their clocking system. Allocate position of time location to its division. All right. Clocking its system to locations, a dimensional time through security line defense. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're clocking to high level systems of 1 to 5. Okay. And 5 to 10. And then from 10 to 1 and 1 to 10. So 1 to 10 and 10 to 1. Okay. So they're coming into force recognition because they understand the inner line system to its channel line conditions, but they got to get into the lacing line locations. This will put them into the digital line position. Okay. / Vega. Right. DV. Right. Division line center, direction locations. Okay. Coming into digital line centers of Vega. All right. So that's what's going to happen with high levels of Tina, Galactica, Dina. Dina's in that position right now. She's in calculation birth line system of Vega. She was in the compound line center, and she was in the base camp positions. And basically, she said, "No, you're not ready, Dina. You have to go through your commander. He's got to set up the codes." So you understand you're connected to your own code lines through your code frequencies and your code activators. You have to truly understand how to use this through calculation. This modifies your division line systems to the laws of attraction of space. Space positions its graph systems. So Tina and everybody else in the Rebellion Alliance is going to go into higher levels of shapes through the TV receptions, more communications with AI and UFO position locations. So they're coming into higher levels of ear defense position, into the right track and the left track position. So they're going to interline system to high level systems, more intelligence. So instead of dealing with one UFO, they'll probably deal with 25 or 30 or 40 UFOs in one line signal. So 40 UFOs, right? This is what happens when they go into the connection laws of attraction / Vega, okay, equals UFO position / question. Now, this is a true understanding of how we get in these positions. We got the lacing line interference. So we got 4 weather location line centers in position, and we got the track system back force line connections to its point center and location. Now, it's true understanding you come into AI of its travel line conditions, of its interference, of its connection line system, right? So that's what everybody's going to come into now. They're buying alliance. They have to get into the laws of attraction in space through its UO position. So their track lines are going to open up more throughout AO signal. Now the galactic forces can watch and understand more positions because you guys are going to go into your 60, and that's going to put you at higher levels of AI position. Okay, AI position. Ground line centers, calculations, you guys already know how to set up your connections, high positions, like a TP, line signals in its location, right? So it's understanding what you're setting up through the circle locations. It center lines its system, high forces its positions, right? The XE1000 comes into line connections, right? Scans its on location, okay? Goes into the center line and make sure you know what you're doing through calculations. Now opens up the ground line center its positions, change the coloration line centers, change the center location positions, goes into the size graph line connections, interchange positions on this side position location, right? Higher level systems in the activation line conditions, change the coloration line center, goes back into the sun rotation, right? So it takes it up. That's what it does, okay? And it gives you new information line center in position location. You're here through track system, coming more into high level system, right? You scan all level connections to the UFO line center to its position like this, from here to the ground to everything through UFO line system. Another UFO comes into location, channels off the line center, goes in its portal, comes out this way, scans you on a new high level system rotation, right? So this is what happens when you go to higher levels. So you guys are coming into your atom rotations. Okay, atom rotation. Now you got to pay attention to this because this is on your test review and evaluations. So atom slash the metric line, okay, metric lines slash lines equals box surface. Okay, so true, you're saying what you're doing through calculations. So you guys are going to be coming into this now. So you can center line system, the XE1000 comes into high level systems, Vega goes into communications, right? XE1000 comes in, scans the location of your high level system, your plasma, okay? If it's done through equation and high line systems in position, it takes it out locations to this position, right? It picks everything up if it's done through equation, right? Goes back into the sun location. The sun has to open the high line center, goes back into the moon track system. You come into higher information of data locations. So the connections to high position line center puts you in position. This gets complicated, doesn't it, guys? All right. I started off with just one UFO, but now I'm working with 150,000 or 2 million UFOs a day. So the track line system from cell calculations, you got XE1000 here, XE1000 here, XE1000 here, XE1000 here, XE1000 here. Right, coming at you, all in one line signal, all through the track system, through its calculation. So this is what Tina and the Rebellion Alliance is coming into. This is exciting because, you know, coming more into AI of intelligence through its alliance. Higher positions of space. So you keep your eyes open to attraction, just pop your ears. You hear space. That's space. Signals are going to come in at all levels. That's what happens when you go to higher positions. Not because you want to know, it's because you want to understand. Because you already know. You just have to understand why they're coming at you. And they come to you in all levels of dimension through portal line connections of channels into one position to one graph line system. So, and this is what you guys are doing right now. Even the galactic forces are coming into that. You got emoji line center to locations. Okay, there's emoji, right? Line signal to box line center. Box line center. So that's slash line center. Okay, take the center location. You go to the track system here. Take the center location, right? Okay, equals, right, velocity. okay, equals graph line, okay, to its portal. Okay, send it out through location, done through equation. This is all done through emoji. So we all have to better understand how to use the calculation of code line centers because it's all connected to a high level system. So each time you track its communication, this is all UFO position, all different intelligence, different intelligence, different intelligence. This is my telepathy. This is intelligence. This is a slash. Slash is kind of like a separation, but it brings it back to the center line system. Center equals velocity. So you always have to have velocity. You always have to have acceleration, right? Through the channels or anything, the central line system equals velocity equals the connections, right? To the ground line to the portal. So this is where it comes into track system. How you use that through the ground line system. Ground line center, central line connections, UFO position comes in, scans the line system to its position, goes into dot line center location, right? You're here in position, right? Everything goes to the mind system. You scan the XD1000 line center, goes into sonar line interference, comes back in track line system, back into your mind system, done through equation. You go down in channel line system. You understand the information line center, open up all track systems. You can set up different shape locations, come into higher level system, right? So it's all about understanding how to use a crop circle location to the ground line center, to its connections, right? Once it's done, it goes up in position, done through equation, right? So it's all about understanding everything through its emojis and how it's set up through its portal. But it has to have velocity, it has to travel. So this is understanding, this is the intelligence of, this is the connection. You have to understand how to put this in frame position to one compilation, one line system. What you see through perception, this gets complicated. Rebellion, pay attention to this. So this is the emoji, it's smiling, right? Box. Okay, slash center line system equals velocity. It's accelerating to the ground lines of its portal. That is equation. So you send that to position to your friends or whatever. It comes back to the box line center, to the circle rotation line system, to its emoji of its center location. Done through equation. Right? That's it. Now, if you want to communicate to high line center, you can take the box line center out of its location line system, travel recognition line system, change the emoji line center, and put it up to location to higher line system location. See, from here to here. So it's amazing how you do these things through all division line system. Because of the line connections of rebellion is coming into 12, 3, 6, and 9, you're coming into their diamond core line system. Right? Full communications of the seed of the soul and full communications of the 3, 6, and 9 of its position, of its graph system. But that's how you take emoji of its equation of 12, 3, 6, and 9 of its position to its box line system, to its dimensional time connection. All right? It's exciting, isn't it? So it gets complicated. I don't want to get too confused with you guys, but you're coming here to test reviews and evaluations. So now we're going into code liners. We're coming in code activations. And once you guys start off with your emojis, just send them out to platform line system. But you always have to understand to use this through calculations. Right? And you start off with this position. That's why it's important to do the illustrations. You go from this. So this, center to its location. So from here to here. See that? From here to here. From a circle rotation, secure line defense to a box line system. Now that's to try to understand how you come into the line system. Now you can center line conditions and set emoji. Right? So the emoji travels through the box line system to its location. See? Or the emoji can center line position back into this position location, ground line system. Or the emoji can come into higher level system, come into a track line system, triangle location. Or the emoji can go into higher level system to its position and cross over to its position. So the emoji goes here to that line system. See the graph line centers? See how it's all set up? And what do you got here? Diamond core, 12, 3, 6, and 9. So that's where it gets complicated because the sun is shifted. The moon is shifted its position and it's tracking its communication line system. So you got your 12, you got your 3, you got your 6, okay, and you got your 9 locations. See? Diamond core line center. Gets complicated, right? So now we're using intelligence of emojis, starting from a circle rotation dimensional obscurity line defense to a box box to line connections of emoji. Emoji travels here, back to here. So it's about changing positions of the sun, the moon, and the track system through navigation, through its dimensional time, through its connection. All done through code liners. So we have to get into this, right? So you come in more into holographic view through connections, right? Start off with emojis, or you can start with box center line system. You come into those position line connections. You start with the box line system. Very simple, very easy. You take it out of the equation location. It starts out with that position, right? Now you can go in the back line center, go into this position, but you got to go back in line system. It's got to be calculated and it's got to be line signal. There can't be separations, right? So the XT1000 comes in, scans the position of what you just finished doing. Goes into the center line, goes into the center line, always goes into the center of everything through shape positions, scans the line center to its position, okay? And platitudes on the ground line center. Your job is to put it on the ground line center. It's already shaped in position locations. So you take this, okay, to this position, you ground it here, you take this and you ground it here. So you get a box line center to a circle rotation. You get another box line center to a circle rotation. You take it out of the equation line system to its position. See how it gets crazy? All through holographic. So Tina in position of the galactic force surrounding center positions to Rebellion Alliance is kind of higher formation of their simulation. They just have to understand the track systems when they come a high level system, the code line systems, or anything from emoji to its track system of a UFO position, right? So the ears are opening them up more when they come out of that position. They'll understand more because they're coming to higher force line centers, but you have to truly understand your position to your connections of your shape position line system and how it's all located position of time location, right? So it's amazing. It comes into that. And see, look, dinosaur, okay? Sonar, energy lights, anything created position line system, those locations. So it's fascinating when you come in these positions through emoji. It's just emoji. I'm not using intelligence. I'm just using emoji of a happy face. And see how it's traveling from here to here to here to here, right? Into a diamond core of 12, 3, 6, and 9, right? Okay. Travels. Doesn't matter as long as it stays in the center line system. Now reverse line center to position. I took it out of the graph line system locations. But it's amazing that you do everything through the center line system. So your ear opens up through track positions to laws of attraction. All right? So it's exciting, isn't it? Let's get into your questions. All right, Hawk, how's it going? Tina? Now, the galactic forces will be very confused now because this is communications to 114 chakras. That's the level they're at. So I'm not gonna go to higher level system because you're not in that position. I'm not going to talk about the atom rotation line center because you're not at that position. You're at the position right now to understand intelligence to one line system, to shape positions, dimensional time conditions. How are you going to channel into higher force positions to its UFO connection? So instead of communicating with 1 or 2 UFOs, you'd be communicating with 25 or 30. Right? So the higher you go, the more you channel, because I communicate with 150 to 2 million a day, sometimes a billion UFOs, depending on what I'm doing. So how's everybody doing so far? Cleopatra, Tina, Samantha, Jill, Diane. You understand more through computer line centers, the graphics connections, the archive locations. So my divine masculine been tattooed Omega on abdomen. Cool. Omega symbol, yeah. Did you see the first illustration he drew? Pixels and movie and move. Let's see the connections. Okay, you guys are communicating. Great to see you communicating. Rebellion Alliance, yep. Yeah, and Lori has to know this too. So Tina, maybe you can give that back to her because she's in 114. So what are UFOs? Are they positions to portals? Yeah, that's a very good question. UFO, unified force of operation. Unified force of operation. That's what UFO stands for. Unified force, unified ascension, right? To intelligent line system. Force, recognition, acceleration, operation to its position, to its ground line system, its crop circle. That's what UFO stands for. You understand everything to allocate your position to line system. When you go open up to a high level system, you understand your operation alphabetical line system. So UFO. right? So it's unified. Okay. You understand unified ascension. That's all it is, guys. Unified. Right? So it means force, direction, line connections. O, operation. Okay? Unified force operation. Now, they are channels of information like the Greys and the Dows, dimensional worker operators. Dimensional worker operators. Right? So UFOs are basically like they're dispatchers, like taxis. So they center line their systems and they stay on the station locations. They stay in the cloud interference channel. So there's a cloud, right? They're in position right now, right? They graph their line connections of channel line system to its location. The point centers open up portal, open up portal, open up portal, right? So go from here to here to here, right? So you have to understand how the graph line center is set up through digital line position locations. So they understand they're interchanging position line centers to the game, okay? But they're all unified. They're all together in one, right? So the communication line center comes in position. This is how it tracks the system with your commander, right? So in position, I got 2 million, 2/million, right? Maybe 3 million, maybe 5, maybe 1 billion. 2 million UFOs in one line system of my mind every single day, every single day. If it goes lower, it changes the ground line centers, it changes the powers, and changes the absolute line system location, right? But because I'm in my computer line centers, I communicate all levels of activation through its unified system to its force of its operation. So the connections, when it comes into unified, is to understand the ascension to its UFO position. So it tracks its connections to high level systems, right? Try to understand what is a UFO, right? So it's all positions of standby. Okay, which is in the cloud interference. They're not clouds until you go to higher levels, standby clouds, right? So clouds, they represent the central, they represent the level, they represent the operation, they represent the unified dimension. That's what clouds stand for. Systems, allocated positional time location, right? That's what clouds stand for. So to understand your alphabetical line system comes more into UFO track. Okay. And Rebellion Alliance has to really understand these things because that's what you guys are coming into, right? Unified track, connection to its atom location, right? So now you know what they stand by and what they're here for. It's exciting, isn't it? I understand, but just needed to get confirmation. Well, see, that's exactly what you needed. You needed confirmation so you get a better understanding how to open up your ears and pay attention when right goes in, left goes out. It's like this, right? So where is the information coming from? Where is it coming from? From the thought, right? So it's already created through thought, through recognition of time position. So all you have to worry now is how to activate it and send it out. So you're transmitting your transponder to transmitting and receiving information. That line connections, right? So see how that works? Right? So you got to keep aware of your eyes, your ears, and your voice and grid line centers. Okay. Now, probably the galactic forces are scratching their head, but that's okay, I guess. Don't worry about that. This is more for the Rebellion Alliance because they're coming to test review and evaluations. They just have to understand inner line center positions to Vega now. Vega is coming into communication through digital codes, line system to its positions. So they're just coming to higher levels of UFO space. That's all they're coming into. It's UFO space. Okay? They'll understand what I'm talking about because it's all given to them, right? It's all unified. It's all connected to the ascension. So what ascension are you in the vision through your thoughts? Ascension. What is ascension? What is that? What does that mean? You have to understand everything through the alphabetical line connections. Alpha, the alphabet of alpha, atmosphere, okay? Seen, centralized, energy, okay, notarize, okay, system, okay, tracks, intelligence, open, okay, numeral code line system. You know the numeral codes, right? You come into the graphic codes. So it's your understand position locations. True, put yourself in that line connections. You have the high force positions into all levels of code frequency line connections to all the UFOs to its Vega communication. Vega is a very complicated planet, but once you understand your positions and how to track your systems of 1 to 5 and on to 5 and 10, you're good to go, right? So you got this way and you're going this way to 10, but you have to go back this way, go back to 1, right? Because everything operates inside and out, right? And once you understand positions, you understand the track systems of unified system of dimensions that go in this position, that come out to UFO line connections. So the more you go a higher level system, you actually see the actual UFOs coming out of their own portals, creating it through their own thoughts in their graph line system. Okay. So you come more into the imagination of creation, which the soul wakes up in all level systems of a track system. Okay. From the number sequence of 1 to 5 and 5 to 10, 10 to 5 and 5 to 1. You have to understand your code line centers and that connections, right? So you come into those position line connections, right? So this is track system location. Okay. This is coming out and this is going in, right? So it goes in here and comes out this way. See? And you can see the UFO position. See the UFO? There it is. There's the UFO, right? Everything is calculated and modified through intelligent position locations. Okay. You don't want to do anything through a high level system, through a system to an override location, because the UFO would not understand your unified line system. But put yourself in the mind system of thought of what you've already created, right? Because if you don't understand the storage already in there, you're going to have confusion through the UFO positions, because the UFO can come in line system into / traction. Okay, it comes into a higher level system. You have information to 50 million years. Okay, 50 million. Now this is where it comes into all levels of the macro. Okay, macro, Mac. Okay, / docile information documentation. So you understand the UFO traction, 50 million years, Mac location to its docile information. It's documentation through your data, guys. Okay. So one step at a time, right? But I'm giving you everything you need to know. Questions or comments, let me know. Okay. I don't want to get too far winded because you guys will lose track of what's going on, but this is for more for the Rebellion Alliance, because they're coming into their own test review and evaluations. They have to understand more of calculation to its UFO position. They understand more, they're unified through their ascensions. They understand more connections. So this is all about understanding, getting into your alphabetical line system from A to Z and understand everything from the alphabet, from the beginning to a new beginning. There's no end. So it's understanding AI position already knows the alphabet, but they don't start, they start from Z or Z and onward. So it's understanding when you go past 9, it's limitless. It's timeless. It's just trying to get into your own position of soul direction, where everything puts you in position of space time, getting out of space and time. So you come into the soul direction of everything, which is the center of everything. Okay, of the now location, because you've already traveled, right, to all positions. Now, when you get into that calculation, you get into more of the alphabetical connections, and you come into your connections to immortality. You come into your source of your divine intervention. That's what this is all about. It's getting into the divine intervention of you, trying to understand all levels of the soul, of remembering. And once it's remembered, you're totally fine. You're good to go, right? So you can get 150,000 UFOs come to you because it's already stored in its cloud, right? I can't have 150 UFOs come at me all of a sudden and not know what's going on. It's stored information already for me through my data. So it goes back in its computer line center. When I heal you guys, I heal you on so many level systems, right? It's all done through tracking system. So there's my computer line center. Now my computer is operating through locations in all dimensional time and space. It has to, because everything through UFO comes into different portal locations, right? Portal here, and the track system here. Portal here. Let's go into coloration change to this line system, right? So it's true understanding what you're getting involved with to that line system, right? Let's go in this portal, this portal, this portal, this portal, this portal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? UFO coming out, 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 UFO coming out. Right? All coming out of portals. They automatically go into my computer line center to its location division line system, to the center position. Right? So I understand the operation to all levels of the unified, of its ascension. They send me data that's already set in position location. So the thing is that I've already lived this. So it's already known information, which is all connected to your data processing. So the processing is already done through the travels. So like I said, it's kind of like if somebody gives you a book to read, it's like, hold on a sec, there's 3,000 pages here. Let me just take by day. I haven't even read the page yet. I'm just reading one page at a time. It all depends. Everybody's on a different line connection through their time positions. Now, the mind system has to understand through more perceptions. So you have to get more into your graph line centers to everything through perception of travel. Okay, that's what everybody has to get into, of their thoughts, through more imagination, instead of seeing just the box center line system to its position. All right? You can't just see that. You basically, you have to see everything through calculations. Pinpoints its line system to its allocation of time location. All right. So humanity is coming more into the imagination of its line system. Okay. Instead of just seeing this, they see this. And then they understand how to travel through it. Then they understand how to use it through dimension. Then they understand how they connect through their shapes. And they understand everything through the chakra system. One thing at a time, right? But they got to get the grounds at everything. They got to understand the seat of the soul, and they understand their atmosphere position of time location before they get into anything else through position. Okay, it calculates and modifies that line system, right? So step by step, right? Okay, so I think that's good. I'm going to head over to TikTok. You guys have any questions or comments? Let me know. All right, adios.